Today, somebody told me, what makes you homeless? Who can tell if you are homeless? Just by the way you look, nobody can tell that you are homeless. So, this is the first story of my homeless existence. On Wednesday, 8th January of 2025, I officially became homeless without any means to provide for myself or to stay in a hotel. And this is an update. So, Wednesday, I moved out of the room that I was renting and I packed all my luggages in three suitcases and dragged everything downstairs. On my way out, the flying monkeys were standing where they always stand whenever I try to go out. And from there, I dragged my luggages to the bus stop, and there I was held by a gentleman to get my luggages in because I had like three heavy suitcases with me. So I got into the bus, taking the bus to the station, and the moment I got to the station, there was this guy that was at the machine to get your tickets. He was standing there, or basically getting a ticket. And after he was done, I looked for where I was going to because I decided to go to London as I was currently outside London. And I feel like in London, I will have more success of maybe finding help from people that look like me. So, while I was standing there, the guy asked me if he could help me with my luggages because the station is one of those old fashioned stations without an elevator or escalator. So I had three heavy luggages with me, and he saw that. Mm, so I told him, like, yeah, I need to decide which station I'm going to, and I still need to get my ticket. And he said, okay, that's fine. I'll wait. I'm like, I was actually like, I didn't want to tell him, like, please leave me alone. But anyway, he waited. And after I got my ticket, he took two of my luggages, dragged them upstairs, and I waited on at the platform, and he sat down next to my luggages. So I was thinking, like, okay, maybe that's it. When the train arrived, he was also going the same direction as I was going to, which is Waterloo Station in London. So the train arrived, and then he automatically picked those two luggages, and I took one. And then he sat me down in a coach, and he sat on the opposite side of it. So we were going to the same station. And eventually I found it so odd that he was still remaining at my side. Like, okay, maybe he's a gentleman. But what was going through my mind actually from the moment that he offered to help, stayed with my luggages, and sat in the same coach on my way. Okay, so I was already suspicious of him. Like, why is he helping me? And I guess this is maybe the trauma of everything that has been happening. So maybe it's paranoia, or it's a fact that it's one of these people. And we, I, first I was reluctant to talk to him. I wasn't in a mood. I was really sad and upset about everything that was happening. I'm still in a phase that I feel like it's so unfair. Everything is so unfair. So I'm mad, I'm angry, upset, and sad at the same time. All these emotions are going through my mind. So I didn't feel like talking to anybody. And I wasn't looking for his help or whatever. I did not care that the luggages were like 200 kilos. I wasn't going to ask anybody to help me, but he offered and I accepted, obviously. Um, so then I asked him, like, oh, where was he going to? Then he told me that he was also going to Waterloo Station and that he can help me from there. So I was asking him if actually he knew where the buses were at Waterloo Station. And then he asked me, like, oh, which bus are you taking? And then I said, bus 59. So that was in the train. And then we arrived at Waterloo Station. He helped me with the luggages again. We got off. And then he said that he know where bus 59 is, and that's the same bus that he was taking. Another red flag. I'm like, So this guy sat in the bus. The moment I got in the bus, he was already in the bus and went all the way from Walton on Thames station to Waterloo with me. So now he is also going to the same destination as I am going to. Um, so he directed me to the bus that I had to take because I had an interview. And yeah, so he said, yeah, he has to go. He has an appointment with a friend of his for housing and stuff. So he can go with me and then he will, I think he had to go like 2 stops further or something. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then he went with me. And when we arrived at my station, he said, like, yeah, let me help you. So he actually got off the bus. And I told him that I was going for interview and stuff, so I wasn't really sure because I had all my luggages with me, those tray luggages, and it looks very unprofessional. At least it will raise questions if I will enter the office with three luggages for an interview. So I told him that my situation, that I had become without a home basically, and that I was going for an interview and stuff. And so I was like, I wanted to check if I will be able to leave my luggages at the reception and also find out the place because I was 1 hour early for the interview. So he told me that he would go with me and that way he can help me. So I accepted the offer because the luggages were heavy. And he went with me. We found where the office is located at, and I asked the reception if I could store my luggages there. They told me no, and that I had to take it with me into the office. So I was already like, oh my gosh. I wasn't really looking forward to the interview, to be honest, because that was the day that I was leaving the place, and I was already upset, like, to be officially. No, I went from economically homeless to real homeless. Like, I ran out of money and now I'm stuck in London with no help from anyone. And so I was so upset that all of this was allowed to happen, coming from somebody who, like, less than 6 months ago, I had 20,000 in my bank account. And how you can finish that amount in just less than 6 months, that's insane. All because I had to stay in hotels. So yeah, so I'm upset about it, and he offered, like, okay, let's go to a coffee shop and then we can talk and wait until your interview times arrive, and then he can support with the luggages. So while we went to the cafe, eventually we ended up talking. He is like Iranian, from Iran, and he told me that he had been in the UK for 7 months and he was learning English, and is also electrical engineer in his country, and he wanted to pick up electrical engineering here in the UK. And so that's the kind of subject that we were talking about. And he asked me like, how come, I told him it's a very long story, but basically somebody sabotaged me to the level that I'm currently at, that I can't find employment, I can't find housing, and that, yeah, it led to me now being homeless, and basically that I had no option. And so he was like, where are you going to go after? And he immediately offered for me to stay with him. The first time I pretended like I didn't hear him. And I think he repeated it 3 times. So the third time he said, just think about it, go to your interview, think about it. If you want to, you can stay with me because I feel like I need to help you, as a human being. Just to see you stranded without any option, that's awful. So just go for the interview. If you get a job, that's great. And then you can stay with me until you are able to get your own place, and he wanted to help. Like, I'm like, okay, wow, that is very generous and stuff. Maybe he's not a stalker or gang stalker. Maybe he's not part of those crew. And, but then it came in my mind like, hey, let me actually ask him if he can watch my luggages while I do the interview. So I asked him bluntly if he didn't mind stay behind in the cafe and wait for an hour with two of my luggages until I'm done with the interview. I said two because in case he is not trustworthy and he goes away, at least then one suitcase is, I have a couple of clothes in there and my makeup. And so if anything happens, at least I will have that part. So I'm like, okay, just entrusting my belongings with a stranger. And, during this whole thing, I am no longer attached to my things. I don't care because they keep destroying my things anyway and stealing some of it. So I was thinking if he takes those 2 bags with him, I don't really care. I can replace it if I get a chance. And if not, so what? Um, so he agreed, but he didn't want to stay behind the cafe, which was odd. He told me that he will wait outside for 1 hour until I'll finish the interview. And then if I let him know that if I was going with him, then we could go directly from the interview back to Walton, where I was staying. And so I went to the interview. And the moment I arrived, this interview thing, I think this should be like a separate video. Um, I don't know if that is the British culture, because the British culture tend to be a bit standoffish, very cold, very reserved. I am a reserved person, but I feel like they are even more reserved than it should be. So the lady I spoke to, I think during our interview, which was through Zoom, she was more, I think she was more engaging. And now she was a bit like honed. I don't know, is that the right word? Or maybe this is a Dutch word that I'm trying to make it English. Haunty or honed? Ah, anyway, it means somebody who, when you say something, that they are questioning what you are saying, you know? So the first thing I did, because I wanted to apologize for having a bag with me, which was a big mistake, but I did it anyway. I lied and told them that I just traveled from Belgium to UK. That's why I had the luggage with me in case of any weird questions. And she said, oh, she like didn't believe it. And that's where I got like, this is a setup, because It can happen. I mean, before all of this, I was a professional, an expat, and I traveled for work like 60% of my time. So it can happen that I just literally came back from the Benelux region into London and with the Eurostar. So that was like, I was telling half truths, you know? But she has no reason to question me about it. And it made me think like these people already know my background. They have heard stories about me. So she was totally different than the first time when I spoke to her. And I didn't trust that. That was the first red flag that I had with this lady. And then I went into a room. I actually didn't know that there was going to be another person with the interview. I thought it was only going to be with her because she is like the head of talent acquisition. And in the room, there was a guy who is head of people. Strange, like HR, so head of HR, and then underneath is head of talent acquisition, which is purely for recruitment. And he oversees the whole of HR. And so I continue with the lie and told him like, yeah, I just came back from Belgium. And you're like, wow, that is huge dedication. So he also again said when she came in, like, huh, have you heard that she came from Belgium? Like, again, that non believable questioning, like, we know you are lying, you know? And so I was kind of taken back, but I'm like, fuck you guys, I do not care. I have already gave you my narrative. If you don't accept it, that's you, because I already know that you have heard something about me and believe those lies that you have been told. So I do not care. This is the only lie that I've told you. Yeah, because I feel embarrassed. I don't want to tell you that I'm currently without a home. And probably you already know. That's why you are acting that way. So they sat down and then she started like drilling me for the interview. It was like, we want to make it so difficult for you, because we don't believe you now that you are a liar or whatever. And drilling me. This is for a talent executive position. I have 20 years of recruitment, talent acquisition experience, of which managerial 10 years experience. So I'm already on your level, the level that she is, that my role will be reporting into. I am below that position that I'm applying for, but because I am desperate, that's why I'm applying for this position. So they ask me all these interview questions, and I'm like, it's fine. I mean, this is like basic. I have done everything. I gave them examples and everything. And it was, so this was like, hmm, okay, let's go on to the next one. That was the kind of interview that vibe that I was getting. It's like we are trying to find things to make it difficult for you. And because of my experience, it was basic, basic level interview. No tough questioning or anything, you know. So, but it was so because they were, how you mirror the energy that you receive. They were reserved. So I noticed, I could see from a distance how reserved I was. I was stiff. I was sitting in my chair like this and answering everything so politically correct, trying to use the right grammar, and just uptight as they were, basically. Like nothing came out of it. And then she even asked, like, how am I as a colleague? You know, I'm like, my God, the idea that I will have to work with such stiff people, I know I will definitely be so unhappy. But I told her, well, I'm somebody that will definitely help you. If there is a task that needs to be done, that's the kind of person I am. And actually, everything during the interview that I told them was True, apart from the fact that I came from Belgium because I had the luggage with me. And but I already knew like this is a company I would not want to work for because this the vibe that I'm getting from these two people, so stiff and uptight. That means I will never be able to be myself, because everything I do that falls out of their ordinary box thinking, it will be questioned and looked at as weird. So, no, I refuse to work for those kind of companies anymore where you go to the bathroom to cry, you know? And so I was thinking, like, oh my God, this was like my last money. I had like £50 and I had to waste £20 on travel just for this freaking interview. So I was already pissed, like, oh, this is such a waste of time, actually, you know, because it was a fake interview. The role, they are never going to give me that role. But they were putting on an act as if, like, we know who you are a liar or whatever. And I went along with it for 1 hour, wasting my time and their time. So after the interview, I went down and met with the guy, and he was still standing where I left him with my two luggages. So told him like how the interview went basically. And he said, well, just continue looking for the right company until you find one. So then he said, like, have you decided? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll go with you because I do not really have any choice or any other option. So I went back with him, and again, he lives in Walton. That's where I was living, and we went to his place. He's basically renting a room in kind of a house that they have converted into separate rooms with bathroom and then a shared kitchen. And the thing is, this guy, his demeanor is very kind. He is soft spoken, very caring. Like, apart from that one incident that made me leave, there was nothing that I could say like he treated me badly. No. He made breakfast, lunch, dinner. And even we went out for walk, we could talk. He's easily to talk to, despite the fact that he doesn't master the English language to a proficient level, but he was easy to talk to and also not like ugly looking, you know? And so it was all amicable. I was okay with it. Just one thing changed because before he proposed for me to stay with him, he gave me two options. One, he can leave his room for me, that's what he said, and stay with his friend, and so that I can be comfortable in his room. He didn't mind to do that, because he wanted to help me out. And the second option was that he could sleep on the floor and I could have his bed. And I told him, like, no, that's your bed. I can sleep on the floor if you, because he said that he has like this thick cover mattress on the bed. So I'm like, I can take that part and put it on the floor and sleep there. Like, I'm African. We Africans adapt to any environment, you know. Like when family members come over for the holidays, we are like 30 in a house. So a house with just 4 bedrooms. Everybody sleeps where they will find a space. So I'm not difficult about that. And so that's why I went with him. But the moment I got into his place, and he cooked and everything. We talked, we watched movie together, and then it was sleeping time. So I said like, yeah, so should I? And I'm also the type when we arrived, his bedroom was really messy, and I am very neat. If you know me, I am like a hygiene freak. So the moment he went to cook, and thank God I never saw the kitchen or how he prepared the meal because otherwise I would have not eaten. But anyway, The moment he went to the kitchen, because the kitchen was on the second floor and he lives on the ground floor, and I took the liberty to clean his room. So before he came down, I had made up the bed, hoovered everything, cleaned the table and stuff, at least. So when sleeping time came, I'm like, shall I put that tin mattress on the floor and then sleep there so that you can have the bed, you know? And he was like, no, we should both sleep in the bed, you know? It's not going to be a big deal, and I respect your space. Nothing is going to happen, you know? And I insisted, no, I prefer like if we sleep separately, at the end of the day, you are a strange man. And for me to, yeah, I don't like that situation, to put myself in that situation. I've been there before, ever since I've been going through this whole harassment gang stalking. Any person that offered to help me are mostly male. And I am aware that that is kind of a privilege that I have, that because of that, I will always find a guy who wants to help me. Um, but I insisted that I will take the floor, and that he will stay in his own bed because it's his place. I don't want to make him uncomfortable. And he said, no, let's sleep in the same bed. Nothing will happen and stuff. I'm like, okay, like you don't really have a choice. So I dressed up. Like normally I sleep in shorts, and now I was wearing like my joggers, and then I even had on his tracksuit jacket, and underneath I had my t-shirt. So I am like packed. If anything has to happen, you have to make a lot of effort. And I wrapped the duvet around me and stuff, and I also had my own bedding with me. And like, when men say that their bedding is clean, no, sorry, I did not trust that. So I had my own bedding with me. So I wrapped myself around in my bedding. And so the first night was okay. In the morning, it was like, oh, let me hold you. I like to cuddle. I'm like, oh gosh, there we go. And so I had my back turned to him, and he tried to hug me, and I'm still like trying to protect myself, because I think he's the type of those men that accidentally touch you in the wrong place. And so you're trying to remove and try to put a lot of cover so that he doesn't touch you accidentally in the wrong place and stuff. And then we had breakfast, we went for a walk, came back, he made lunch and dinner. So, and then the second night came around, and we had to go to bed again. And this time, oh my God, he was prepared. I think this was his point, that he felt like this is going to be his chance or something. And mind you, something actually happened that day. So he is Iranian, and I don't know if you have seen. Anyway, I'm a woman, so obviously I've dated a couple of guys, and I notice differences from cultures, and I've noticed people from Asian background, not Asian in terms of China or Korea, but Asian background with Indian type of background. They are hairy. And this guy is hairy, like monkey level hairiness, hair all over his body. I'm sorry, I'm a woman. I like men who don't have hair. So I told him, but this is not actually insinuation for that I liked him in that way. I just told him, like, have you ever considered like waxing? And then he told me, like, oh, that is so painful for him. He did it and it was super painful. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, yeah, but you have a lot of hair and not the right places. It's good to have hair on your head, um, and maybe a tiny, tiny little bit on your legs. Um, but he has like hair on his back, all his arms, legs, everywhere, back, front, like fully covered. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you should definitely consider waxing. And then he came up with like, oh, help me shave. I was like taking back. I'm like, okay, that is very intimate request, but I'm not a shy girl. Um, so in terms of seeing somebody else, I will not easily allow somebody to see me, but I'm definitely not shy. Like when I was younger, I had male best friends, and I could easily undress in front of my male best friends because I do not think that they have any other feelings for me. At least that was my naivete back then. So I could see him like a friend. My God, the lights sometimes look makes you old, and then all of a sudden young. And so he came up with the idea that I would help him shave. He would do the front and I could do the back for him, you know. So he went into the shower, started shaving, and then called me to help him shave. And he only had his boxer shorts on. So I shaved his back all the way to his butt crack. And that was it. I wasn't thinking anything of it. I could have done it for my brother, you know, if I had a brother. I could have done it for my male best friend. That was it. For me, it was nothing sexual. Nothing. I did not have any bit of sexual feeling for that guy, you know. So that was it. And for me, it was fine. It wasn't anything like, oh, this is me showing you that I am so into you because of that. So when the night came, this guy was already in bed, prepared, waiting. Okay, so I'm in the McDonald's waiting for the guy who is security here to finish his shift. So, and one of the staff member came in. I had to halt the video. But anyway, so he was waiting in bed, and I again had the idea to cover myself as much as possible. So I was already prepared and would cover myself in any way that you couldn't even try to sneak a finger through the sheets or something. Then I got in and stuff. And so he was trying to find a way to get to my body. And I told him, like, no, like, no, no, and stuff. And I don't know what it is with men. When a woman said no, and I'm the kind of person, I am kind. So I do not try to be confrontational until you push me too far. So if I say no in a gentle way, I mean it. No is no in my book. And I kept saying no. I think I said it like 10 times or 12 times or whatever. And then he tried to lift me up from the bed, push me over to his side. And he had such a firm grip. I got so scared because I couldn't loosen myself from his grip. It was like iron placed on me. I got so scared. I could see the whole scenario unfolding. And then I shouted, "Don't force me." The moment I shouted, "Don't force me," then he said, "Okay." He let me go and then turned to the other side of the bed, angry, and slept. Even when I tried to apologize for something that I didn't do, but I felt compelled to apologize since I was in his home and he had been nothing but good to me, you know. But I didn't know that nothing but good to me was supposed to come with sexual favors. If he would have said that, I would never have gone with him. So he was acting like a baby. I said, like, yeah, sorry, but I do not like to be touched, you know. I already told you that this is pure platonic. There is nothing. And it's not like I've given you openings. There is no body language to suggest that in any way. So there is no misleading of anyone, you know? And he didn't respond. He was like, fine, and slept. So the whole night I couldn't sleep. I felt very uncomfortable. He had taken all the duvet, and I was just there, covered in my own bed sheets. And I was okay. I'm like, that's fine. If you want to be this childish, this is already telling me that you are not a person that you pretended to be. Your kind demeanor was a wolf in sheep's clothing, basically, a predator. And so I slept, and I am the kind of person, if you show me who you are, I am out. I am gone. Gone. I did not care if I would have to sleep on the streets. I did not care anything. I do not want to put myself in situations where I'm forced to do things that against my will. I did not like that. You know, you cannot attack me. And I am not going to sell my body for some what, two 2 pound meals and some one room. It's not even an apartment, a room, a dirty ass room that is so cold, you know. Please. So yeah, the morning, I couldn't wait for the morning to come. I stayed up the whole night. I haven't slept, and then the morning came. Still, he did not spoke a word to me. He was ignoring me. No more breakfast. What do you want to eat for breakfast or anything, you know? He ignored me. So since it was his place, I asked him like, "Hey, can I use your shower?" I took my shower, and after I was done, I told him like I was going. And while I was taking a shower, I heard him talking to somebody, and I believe he was talking about me. Also, yeah, the moment I got there, he was constantly talking to people, and even his landlord came into the flat, which was very odd, you know, with some weird excuse. And every time he went to cook, so called, and he would be talking to people that he came back and he hadn't cooked, you know. So I was already very suspicious of him because I felt like this is an entrapment. I don't know, maybe they want him to have sex with me so that they can record it and put it somewhere. I don't know. And so after the shower, I heard him whispering to somebody. And when I came back, he pretended that he was sleeping. And then after I was done, makeup and everything ready to go, I packed my stuff. And I told him I was going to the station. If he could tell me which street it was so that I could Google it to know how to walk. And then he told me he doesn't know his street name. But then he told me that he was going to the station as well, so he could bring me. But I was not looking forward to being in the train with him, that he will be sitting next to me, like an uncomfortable situation. I don't want that. So I was like, I want to leave you as soon as possible and forget who you are, you know? But I don't know, maybe he felt guilty or something. But he insisted that he would take me, and I said, okay, but I want to travel with the bus because last time I spent like 20 euros just going back and forth to London, 20 euros, 20 pounds. And to spend the same amount again while I have nothing to eat, that is Not great. So I was planning to do the whole trip by the bus. And so I told him, yeah, you can bring me to a bus station and then I can go from there. And so he brought me to the bus. And then on our way, he said, why don't you leave two of your luggages here? Because then it will be easier for you to move around, you know? Like he was asking, where are you going to sleep and stuff? Where are you going? And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter, you know? Why do you care? And it's not as if I have any option anyway. So I told him, like, I don't know. I was planning to call the street links people, the shelters and stuff, and find if they could help me because that was my whole goal before I met him. That was my plan, you know. But yeah, so then I went into the bus. I called these shelter people. They basically gave me a load of information of what to do when you become homeless and how to reach out to the council and stuff. And none of them has worked. It is just smokes. This is smoke and mirrors, smoke screens, or whatever it is. This just fake info to get rid of you, basically. So yesterday, which was Friday, is I left the guy's place and then I came to London and I was planning to go to London Bridge and then from there to stay there and try to see if I could contact the street link people because they are supposed to verify that you are actually homeless alone in the streets and that you have nowhere to sleep, and then they will contact the council for you, give you a reference so that you can contact the council and start moving from there. um I contact them and then I think that their recording said that it only starts from the evening or something, which is weird. So actually I sat outside for a couple of hours. I sat outside so long that, oh my god, I couldn't stop shaking. And then I got to this area, which is southeast London, and I was so cold. And I was trying to contact them again in the evening. And while I was at the station, these strange men came hanging around me, you know. And at one point, I was standing somewhere in a dark alley at the station, and this guy in a hoodie, like a jacket with a hoodie, all in black. I couldn't see his face, but he was pacing up and down around me. So I got so scared. I couldn't see his face. It was like a black hole. And then I saw that there was a McDonald's around the corner. And then I went into the McDonald's and I sat there. And then I think around midnight, one of the security guy came to me because he was also pacing around me and looking at me somehow because I had been sitting there not ordering anything and stuff. When I came in, I wanted to order something, but I saw that he quickly went to the people at the counter, spoke to them, and then went into the kitchen. And because of bad experiences I have, that they will either put salt in my food or spit in or whatever. I thought maybe that was what he was doing, so I decided against ordering anything. And I just sat at the tables because there were a lot of people without food sitting in McDonald's for nothing. I sat there and I googled that they were going to close at 2 p.m. So no, 2 a.m. in the morning, which was good. And I sat there, and then around midnight, he came to talk to me like, "Hey, are you okay?" Um, and I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he left, and then came back later again. Do you want something to drink? And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" I hadn't eaten. The only thing I had eaten the whole day was crackers, Jacob's crackers, and I had no drink the whole day. So I was actually grateful that he offered to buy me a drink. And he said, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Tea will be great." I was so cold still. Like my bones were literally frozen. And so he offered me hot chocolate. He came back and with hot chocolate and gave that to me. And then later he came back again. "Would you like something to eat?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then I thought, like, what is the safest thing that I can eat from McDonald's? I'm like, okay, fries and McNuggets, you know. So he brought that and I ate, and then he came to sit with me, and then he started this whole introduction about himself, what he does, and who he is, like a very lengthy story. And I was kind of, what is a word? Suspicious? Why somebody's telling me all these stories? It was like I'm grooming you or something. So while he was telling me the story, all in my head was somebody has told you to come to me, and now you have to sell yourself to me. But he told me that he was telling me all of this because he wants to help me. As he see that I'm stranded and he needs to help me, his faith implies that he has to help me, blah blah blah, and gave me all so many examples of people that he has helped and how they were grateful to him and blah blah blah. So, but like a very talkative person, and I am not that talkative to strangers, so it was exhausting. But yeah, in the end of the day, I felt like, what choice do you have anyway? So he offered that I could stay with him. I could go with him, and then in the morning he will try to engage his brother because he has network and people in the council to help for me to get benefits and stuff, and then maybe housing, you know. So I'm like, yeah, why not? We can try at least. And then he told me, like, at least you can stay until Monday. And then he told me that he is renting a room, but the landlady is in another country moment, and he is living with two other people. I think one left. So it's like, anyway, long story short, he has a room and I could stay there. And I told him that I left that guy that tried to do something to me. And yeah, so I wasn't looking for that, if that was the kind of help that I was going to receive. And he said, no, no, that is definitely not the type of help he wants to offer people. And, he wants to do good so that God can bless him and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's also how I think. you know if you do good to other people, God blesses you or your family member who will ever be in need, or maybe your future children and their children. So I waited until his shift, and then we went to his place, and he has a room. So again, the uncomfortable situation of the sleeping arrangements, that you have to crash in somebody's bed. Incredible. But yeah, that's now where I am, and obviously he doesn't know me. So when he had to work this morning or this afternoon, I had to leave his flat, and I have to now. That's where I am, at his workplace, waiting until he finishes at 2. So today has been a stressful day because this is all new for me. I've never been in this situation before, and I felt really bad. Today I literally thought, like, I want to throw myself in front of the moving bus because I could end it. Like, it's a life that I do not want. I am at the mercy of other people. And if there is something that I hate, that is being at the mercy of men. My whole life, I had predators around me. I had to fight against predators. And now, at this age where I should have had a stable environment, a loving environment, I am again surrounded by predators and sacrificed by a predator who has destroyed my life. So it's a heavy lifting because if it wasn't for these people, I would never have been homeless. Never. Never. I am very good with money. I know how to work. I've been working since I was very young. I am not clueless about money, you know. I'm very entrepreneurial. I'm smart. But yeah, so it is quite an adjustment. Right now, I am staying with this man, and today actually something happened, and that's why I became so sad that I wanted to throw myself in front of a bus because I don't know how I can get out of this. And we met his brother today. We went to his brother, and those people, when they see you, you can see from their face that they don't like you. And I could tell that his brother didn't like me. I could see the moment he looked at me, his face hardened. I could literally see his face hardening. He was not interested to look at me. He was not interested to hear what his brother had to say about me or my situation. All he judged me was based on how I looked. And that is the person that told me what makes me homeless because he can't tell on the way I look that I look homeless. And I told him I will never look homeless. Even at my worst, I will never look like a homeless person because that's not me. I have had soft life my whole life. So that now all of a sudden I have nothing, it's new to me. I don't know what hunger is. I don't know what struggle is. Of course, I have lost everything and had to rebuild it, but I have never been in this hardship before in my life. So if he believes me or not, I did not ask for his help. Your brother is pushing me that you so called expertise of living 40 years in the UK with your network that you can help me. And you do not know me. A lot of these people, I've noticed how they judge me based on my current situation. Either they think I never went to school, or that I just came from Africa or somewhere, or that I am a thief, or I'm a liar, or I'm some kind of thing that doesn't even come in my vocabulary. The judgment, the judgment, the judgment. So I don't know if he was worked on before we even got there, but all I knew was I did not like that guy and he did not like me, and I wanted to get out of that as soon as possible. So after the meeting, then we left, and I felt really sad because he had made me depressed by his unkindness. And I know not everybody's going to like you in this world that we live in, but are people being unkind to you because I have done something to them? No, they are unkind because it's based on judgments or prejudice or whatever. you know? And that is what is like so painful, because like in a normal situation, none of them would even compare to 1% of what I was doing or what I had. But now I am lower than the lowest. And I'm not saying that people are low, but if they can look at me as if I am dirt, then I can tell you that in a normal world, you will not even be near me. And now I am at the mercy of people who look down on me, who usher me around, who want to take advantage of me. And all because somebody decided to take my livelihood away, to destroy any chance of living away, to see me crumble in dirt. And that's where I've ended. So I was angry with God today, very angry, upset, and asking why. How come you allow this if you are a loving father figure, almighty, all knowing, all seeing? Why would you allow this to happen to your beloved, who you know has done nothing, but then nothing against anyone? Why would you allow it to happen? So I'm dealing with a lot of things. I'm not dealing only with homelessness. Today, sometimes I feel like I'm going mad because I can't. I'm trying to understand it, and it's not getting there. That you know that thing, like you want to hit your head so badly to understand. It's like I feel like I'm going mad at times. That's how frustrated I get because I can't comprehend what is happening. How I got here, I can't. It's just insane. Since 2018, I have had more than enough money to buy houses. Houses, not one house, houses. To current level, it's just insane. It's crazy. I was going from strength to strength to strength to strength. So I don't know how long this will take, because I am actually afraid of what will happen. Like if it's going to be the same situation as the guy, the Iranian guy, at the end of the day, maybe on Monday, I'll be out because his brother made it perfectly clear that I should sleep outside until the rescue team finds me. And that I should not be anywhere near his brother or whoever that wants to help me. So, I don't know. I'm looking. Yeah, wait. This is a very long video again, but this is the update, basically. Day three of not having a place to live. I did something crazy today, though, because I had literally 1465 in my bank account. Like, it was just enough to buy data, but I Today I went to the library because after that awful meeting with the big brother, I felt like I needed to be alone. I am at my best. I can recharge myself when something bad happens when I'm alone. I am an introvert. I get my energy from being alone. So after bad things, I need to recharge myself with myself basically. And I decided to go to, since I don't have anywhere to go to the library. And when I got to the library is supposed to close at 5 o'clock. I think I went there and it was like 4:30. 5 minutes I have after I've sat down, I was writing my journal, talking to God, and 5 minutes later, this old woman came by, and next to me, she said something like rudely, loudly. I ignored her. She went away. And then I think 5 minutes later, this black guy came by. He's security. And then he said, they are going to close in 5 minutes. So everybody should wrap up. I'm like, that is odd because you are supposed to close at 5 o'clock. Why all of a sudden you're closing way too early? And I think everybody was questioning because it's literally written outside, and that's the kind of power these people have. They can make buses not come for 1 hour straight, they can close a library. And so I was talking to a girl that was sitting. I was seated in a quiet study area in the library, and people there are studying. I think they are just students or anyone that is studying something. So I actually prefer to sit in that area that way. Nobody will come around and talk smack, you know. So I think that was something that they weren't pleased about because they couldn't send their regular junkies, addicts, homeless, and God knows what they always send to me. They couldn't send them around, and that's why they had to close down the library. Then the security came back again. He said, "Oh, 10 minutes. You guys have 10 minutes to finish up what you're doing, and then we are going to close." So people start packing and getting ready. So I also packed and went outside, but I didn't want to go into McDonald's to wait until 2 a.m. for so long. I still wanted to be alone with my own thoughts and recharge my energy. So I found this cute place with like cakes, pastries, and I went there and I thought like, you know what? That money that you were saving to buy data, just use it now because if today is going to be your last days, make the most of it. At least eat something that you love. So I ordered tea and then I ordered red velvet cake, and it was the best red velvet cake I've ever eaten. I will insert the I will insert the photo in here. But it was definitely my last money well spent. So that's what I did. And that made me happy. It really did. I recharged. I felt good. I stayed there 1.5 hour. They were going to close at 7. I left at 6:30. And then I came into the McDonald's where I've been seated. And this guy managed to clear out the top of McDonald's because they close at a certain time. So I am allowed to sit here all by myself. Once in a while, a staff member will come by. They look strangely at me, but since I'm waiting for him, it's okay. And this is where I am. So I'm at the mercy of strangers and a male stranger. And he's actually African, West African from Nigeria, but a Muslim. I'm Christian. Um, and so far, he has been very kind. No incidents yet. So I hope there will be no incidents, that this will be somebody that I can be grateful to. Um, I don't know what will happen after Monday. I don't have any hope, to be honest. I don't know. And this whole thing, I've started hating myself. I take a lot of pictures, like selfies. And every selfie I take, I hate my eyes because they are constantly sad. I want my eyes to be happy. I don't know how to do it. Even the comedies that I used to watch before when I felt bad, I no longer get the same enjoyment out of it as I used to. I want my eyes to be happy. But yeah, I'm waiting for a miracle. I'm waiting for a miracle. That job is not going to, that job is not it. I know I'll be miserable there. Ugh, but if they hire me, I'll probably take it and look for something else. That's it. I need to get on my feet. I need a home. That's my priority now. A home, somewhere to stay, safe, not a flat share, not somebody's bedroom, my own home. That's what I need. Without it, my life is never going to be better. So that's the update. If you have any idea what I should do, let me know, because I feel like I have gone through everything that I can do. I've reached out to these people, but it's just a joke. I think I will do a vlog about the processes that they sent me, all the steps that I can take, which is leading to nothing, because it's like they send you here, they send you here, they send you here. That's it. I'm praying that there is a God that is witnessing everything that has been happening to me, and that this God is a just God, not just Plato's Republic and his rhetoric on what is just, but a real just God. That is what I'm looking for. Otherwise, this whole balance thing of the yin and yang, the planets, good and evil, it doesn't add up. There is no gray area. There is good and bad. And I believe I'm on the good side. So why do I have to experience the bad? But yeah, thanks for watching again, and comment, let me know if you are based in the UK what I should do. I can't go back to the Netherlands because right now I don't have money, and even in the Netherlands I'll face the same situation. I will not have a place to stay. I have a sister or half sister. I am not close with her. I and none of my other family members. I have become a pariah, like a persona non grata. People have resentment against me that I didn't even know that they had, but I think they always had some kind of resentment against me because I have always been independent. I have always been able to take care of myself without anyone's help. And they hate that about me. So they are non existent in my life. And especially this year, I have said goodbye to all of them in 2024. So for me, I go through life telling people that I do not have family. I see myself as a true orphan. No mother, no father, no family. Because that's what I am right now. This is going to be very long. So maybe I should cut it up in two parts. But anyway, if all is well, inshallah, we shall see again. Cheers.